Another Metroid II remake, or AM2R, is a fan-made remake of Metroid II Return of Samus that has been in the works for about 10 years now and was finally released on the 30th anniversary of the Metroid series. While the Metroid fanbase has been up in arms about the first Metroid game in 6 years, or about 9 years since the last good one, being a chibi spin-off, those seeking a more traditional Metroid experience need not look any further. However, not too long after the release, Nintendo issued a DMCA on the fan game, but this is the internet, and it's not too hard to track down the file if you actually search for it. If you have yet to finish the game or haven't played it yet, I'll only be showing footage from the first area, because I really don't want to spoil the experience. Inspired by the remake of the original Metroid Zero Mission for the Game Boy Advance, Dr. M64 set out to remake the second Metroid title in a similar fashion. The original Metroid 2 was plagued by screen crunch, black and white graphics, a lack of good music, and clunky controls. All of these issues are addressed in AM2R as the game takes the silky smooth controls and mechanics of Fusion and Zero Mission as well as their aesthetics to give Samus' genocide quest a whole new feel. The premise of the original Metroid 2 is that bounty hunter Samus Aran was contracted by the Galactic Federation to travel to the Metroid homeworld, planet SR388, and exterminate every last Metroid. That basic story is the same here, yet now the mission is colored by new lore entries and occasional area and enemy scans, a mechanic inspired by the Prime games. Despite the new layer of story and lore, the game manages to feel less hampered by it than Fusion or Zero Mission because there are absolutely no statues or computers telling you where to go. And while you may not know where to go sometimes, you will never be lost without a clue, as the level design here is what drives the player's direction. Metroid is about isolation and exploration, and AM2R totally nails it. As long as you pay attention to your surroundings, visual cues, and learn the ins and outs of how a non-linear Metroid affair works, your gut will usually lead you in the right direction. Speaking of level design, what you experience here is phenomenal. Good mechanics are one thing, but they're pointless if the level design doesn't fit it. What you'll find in AM2R is a buttery smooth experience. New control options increase Samus' mobility and precision. There's a dedicated button for Morph Ball. You can choose between toggling weapons like in Super Metroid, or holding a button to ready them like in Fusion and Zero Mission, which is my personal preference. You can toggle abilities on or off, and abilities and weapons from throughout the series make appearances here. The game is an incredible love letter to Metroid games and Metroid fans. If this didn't say otherwise, I think Nintendo in their prime developed this game. At the very least, AM2R is as good as Fusion or Zero Mission. AM2R is a spectacular Metroid game and the standard to which I will hold any future 2D entries from Nintendo if they ever make any more. I highly recommend this to any Metroid fan and even fans of action or platformer games. Another Metroid II remake gets a 7 out of 7.